Hello and welcome to the Producer Joe Show, episode 9. We've made it to 9. We haven't been canceled yet. Imagine that. Today is really special to me because I have a very good friend on the show. And please forgive me once again because I'm obviously being the producer and the host. So I try to, I got a lot of buttons to push. So I'm making sure that this is good now and we are good to go. So again, welcome. This is a friend of mine. This is a radio veteran. This is a person who is possibly the most interesting and entertaining person that I have heard on the radio. He just knows how to get the audience engaged and make people talk, and that's what we're going to do today. Is we are going to talk. We're going to talk about his next chapter in his storied career, and I'm not going to use the stupid phrase "further ado," but here he is, Chris Merrill. Welcome to the show.
Hey, buddy.
Hello there. How you doing, man?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be on the big show. I was impressed by your graphics. The intro. I didn't realize that you had the whole intro. I mean, it was very John
Hey,
Williams-esque. The music bed, that was great.
listen. When it comes to the Producer Joe Show, no expense is spared. I mean, top notch intro, top notch guests, right?
Yeah, yeah. Although
So,
once you get to
how you
episode
doing,
9,
buddy?
the quality of your guest drops a little bit. So great.
Yeah.
Mhm. I'm doing all right.
How
I'm
you
doing.
doing, man?
Listen, I'm excited because I just got a new gig, and it's felt like forever. But I got a new gig, and so I'm back in Arizona now. So this is good. As far as you and I
Well,
go, because
that's
now I'm only 5 hours away from the Little Ranch's Big D now. So I'm excited about that.
no, that's absolutely correct. I want to get to that in a minute, but first,
Mm.
let's catch up. What have you been up to in the meantime? Well, I know I've heard you
Uh-huh.
on the air. I have heard you. You've been on the air. What you
Yeah.
been doing?
Well, okay. So things went awry at the Phoenix station. They wanted to go further to the right and talk more politics. I told them that really wasn't my bag. They said, "We don't know if we want you." I said, "I don't know if I want to be here." So we kind of broke up. And then I was doing evenings in San Diego for another couple of years with iHeart, and then iHeart did one of their um, pretty notorious cullings, and I was a part of the herd that got culled that time. So from 2020, January 2020 on, I've been playing sort of the fill-in game, and I did a lot of work in 2020, 21, and into 22 for KGO in San
Oh boy,
Francisco.
we got some lagginess. We've
You
got
know,
some lagginess here.
you're lagging.
Look, you're still going. Nope. Okay, there we are. We're all back to. We're good. We're good. Sorry, that was on my end apparently.
Of course
Go
it
ahead.
was.
Sorry.
So yeah, then I was working for with KGO in San Francisco, and things were going really well. They're like, "Listen, you're great. We want to get you in here. This is wonderful. Hey, we got an all-staff meeting on Friday. Okay, cool." And all-staff meeting was, "Hey, we're changing the format," and everything went away. So then I was kind of scrambling, and so I've been doing a weekend shift at KFI there in Los Angeles, and then I was doing a lot of I would say almost heavy petting with WBAP in Dallas. We were doing a lot of work there, and I thought I was going to end up in Dallas. I mean, I was trying to check out neighborhoods and figure out where I was going to live, but they were on a different timeline than I was, and I got a phone call from Brian Long, who's my former boss from San Diego there, and he said, "Hey, we're putting something together back in Phoenix, and you're familiar with the market, and I really liked you. Do you want to give this a whirl?" And so we had some conversations. I talked with the new program director, and off we go. Here we are. Now I'm back in Phoenix full time.
No, I'm loving it. I'm digging it, man. And like you said, you're a lot closer to San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
We can come see you. You can come see us. No, that's outstanding.
I can almost feel the ocean
How's Luann?
breezes. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I can
How's Luann
smell.
doing?
I can smell IB from here. Is what I'm telling you. It's great. It's wonderful. Little toxic waste. She's doing great. So my wife, um, when I was doing the fill-in work, I left Phoenix. We sold our house and then moved to Michigan in my hometown. We spent a couple of years in a fifth wheel. We paid off all of our debt. Did kind of the Dave Ramsey plan, right, where we lived like nobody else, so we could live like nobody else. And then we got this cute little lake cottage, and it overlooks this beautiful little lake, and on the other side of the lake is sand dunes and a state park, and just the other side of that is Lake Michigan. We really do catch all the breezes there, and it's great. So I grabbed an apartment in Phoenix, and she is in Michigan, and she's going to kind of snowbird a little bit. And one of the great things that I was able to kind of hammer out with these guys in Phoenix is that they're going to let me do the show remotely for a couple of weeks a year. So I'll be able to spend some time, with her up there. We'll get some fishing in and things like that. We'll have to invite you and Amy up there. You can come stay at our little cottage. And probably in October, we'll have you up there again so that you can help us rake leaves. Yeah.
Oh, I love raking. I love raking. I'm twisted like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she's up there with our big fat dog Millie, and I'm here.
Is Luann still watching those crazy TV shows on how to make you disappear? And without a trace. She's been,
How to Get Away with
all
Murder.
over those.
Yeah. He Had It Coming. I'm trying to think of all the headlines, all the names of the shows that they have on Investigation Discovery. Like it's always something like the problem was him all along. Tonight at 8 on Investigation Discovery. Yeah. The neighbors knew on Investigation Discovery. Right. It's always something like that.
She seemed like such a sweet person. They were very quiet, No, I know. My wife watches the same thing, so I'm always looking over my shoulder.
It'll be like Wives with Knives tonight on Discovery. Yeah.
Wives with Knives. I like that.
Yeah.
So, tell me a bit more detail. Go into depth here about your new gig in Arizona.
So this is the first time I'll ever have a partner, and coincidentally, his name is Joe. So I've got the Chris and Joe show, and we're going to be on from 2:00 until 4 on KTAR. We're back on the FM stick, which I haven't been on the FM stick, like a primary signal. There's been HD2s, right? But I haven't been on a primary stick. Oh, look at that. Since we had the stick there in San Diego. Remember, we were simulcasting on the AM FM. So now we're back on the FM side here, and I'm excited about that because it's obviously a little bit broader reach. It's a station that focuses a lot of the news and not so much on the political gossip crap, which, listen, you and I know that's not my, you don't win in that space, right? Because all you're going to do, it's like you're either satiating the believers or you're pissing them off. And you don't really win. What does anybody learn from you? What's the takeaway? It's the only thing they get is like, hey, I'm on your team, and aren't we all great together? So, we're not doing that.
Yeah, it's an election year at that.
Yeah, and that's the other question a lot of people have asked. Like, how are you going to handle an election year if you don't want to talk about politics? And it's not that we're not going to talk about politics. We just want to talk about the issues, not necessarily the players, and get into the gossip. I mean, the players are obviously necessary to the story, but do I need to get into Alejandro Mayorkas? Do I need to argue about why Jim Jordan hates him, or why Joe Biden's standing? But nobody cares about that crap. You know who cares? Wonks care. People that listen to old man AM radio, which I was doing a better job of when I was on the AM than what the people are now, because they just go by like, listen, this is just who we are. We're broadcasting to people who poop themselves a lot. That's what we are now. And I was like, no, we don't have to be. We can be fun and entertaining and engaging and have these conversations. And they were like, no, you'll be just like Hannity. Hannity is great. Have you listened to Hannity? So I'm so excited to be on a station now that's like, listen, let's talk about those issues. Let's talk about the border, but let's do it in a manner that, one, focuses on Arizona, the impact in Arizona. And then two, this is the other thing that is, we're really hanging our hats on here, is why? Like, why is this why does this make me feel this way? Like, why does the
It's
border
more
issue,
personal. It's more centralized,
right?
localized.
Well, localized, yeah, but like you have an opinion on the border, right? How is the border? One of the things that drives me nuts when people are like, it's an open border. Like, it's not an open border, right? There's no open border policy. I'm so tired of people saying open border policy. So we're not going to fall into that
Right.
space. But we might talk about, is border
Sure.
security up to snuff, right? We might say, listen, this border security is lax. The border security could be better, whatever it is. And we'll formulate an opinion, but then we have to ask ourselves, why? Why is that so important? Is it because of a drain on the system? Is it because I feel like my tax dollars are being wasted? Is it because I'm racist? And for some people, the answer is going to be yes. For others, it's going to be like, no, I don't
Yeah.
think it's a burden on the system. We should allow more people in. Others are going to say, look, we have to have a much easier system to allow immigration, and until we can come up with a better system, you can't lock people out. Others are going to say, until we can come up with a better system, you have to keep the country safe. Like, what is it? People are like, well, I'm worried about terrorists coming across the border. Okay, well, why? Like, was there a terrorist that
Right.
affected you? Is there an example of this? Why do are you fearful for your family? Do you feel like you're a target? These are all this is the whys, right? We want to dive into the why in all of the different topics and how they're going to affect people. I just use the border as an example. We'd probably, and obviously we give the Arizona twist on that. And if I were back there, I'd be talking about, OTI and why is this border bad? Why is that border good? And, all this, this crossing, that crossing. But we've got issues here too. We've got
Sure.
teen violence is a big thing in Phoenix right now. They've got this group of mostly affluent kids in the high rent district that are beating people up at random. Actually killed another high school kid. Just beat him to death in the street, and everybody's wondering why. Why'd they do that? So we're going to try to figure that out. We're going to figure out why. And who are the parents here? And the question is, where are the parents, and why weren't the parents there? And why aren't the parents turning their own kids in? A lot of questions that arise when you just ask why. And my general criticism of talk radio today is that a lot of people on the air come to you like, here's the answer. I have all the solutions. That's why I'm on the radio. And I think our take is going to be a little bit more in the vein of curiosity. Listen, I'm on the radio, which gives me the chance to ask why. Why this? Why that? So that's
we have a thing at work for many years. It's not just why; it's the 5 whys. You need to ask 5 whys to get to the root of what you think the situation is, what the cause is. And I agree with you. It's multi-layered. Absolutely.
Yeah, and as soon as you hit, like, you figure this out, Joe, like you're asking the first why, and you get to the second why, and all of a sudden 3, 4, and 5 just follow, because it's like peeling back the onion, and you peel an onion. That first layer is the hardest. That's the gross dead stuff, and then all of a sudden the rest of them just start falling off of it, and you just go, and we can have conversations that way. So that's the goal to start with.
Yep.
Try to elevate the
Creates a
conversation a
great
little bit.
conversation. You're right.
Yeah. So that's where we're going.
So this is KTAR News,
Yeah.
Phoenix, and
Yep.
this graphic that I have, which was way bigger than I expected, but 92.3 FM, and then that starts on Monday?
Monday?
Does that start on Monday? I know that was
Yes.
That was awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you.
It starts Monday, and it's just
so
2
I
to
got the
4.
lineup right here.
Yeah.
2 to 4 right there.
Yeah. Now, I want to clarify. Here's something else that's great about this station. Like, this station has been doing great work for years. I used to work for the competing station, and I listened to this one. They do great stuff. In fact, Mike Broomhead, who's on in the morning, that's the guy that I worked with at the other station. He's here now. Bruce St. James is a guy that I've respected for a long time, and Bruce was doing stuff for Cumulus in Chicago, and I have thoughts on Cumulus in different markets, and some are better than others. So he's back, and listen, he's so good for it. He's good for it. And Larry Gatos has been, I think they were telling me today, I think Larry said, I talked to him today, and I think he said he's been here since 98. So the guy knows Phoenix, he knows Arizona, and he knows the station, he knows the audience. Sure. And then again, as I mentioned, it's a focus on news. Our program director had been the news director She's so smart. She's so laser focused. And to be honest, Joe, if you were hiring me and you didn't know anything except what people had said, you'd be like, okay, is this guy a loose cannon? Right? Is this guy a little,
Right.
I don't mean like a Steve Harmon loose cannon. I mean, like, is this guy a little, is he going to be, he is so
Unhinged.
right. And you and I have talked over the years. Like, I'm not really the same guy I was 10 years ago. It's like I've matured a little bit. Basically, I think my testosterone is dropping, if we're being honest. But he is so laser focused on protecting the credibility of the brand. And I had conversations years ago with people about the most important thing that we have in talk radio is our credibility. And they went, no, I think the most important thing is that we have people listening. And I thought, they're not going to if you don't have credibility. And I was
Sure.
harping on him because I was working for stations that had Hannity. And I go, he's not bringing credibility, right? He's backed himself into a corner with things. But no, it's fine. I said, credibility is, and I'm working for a program director now whose number one priority is protecting the credibility and image of the radio station. And I just feel so in tune, so on the same page. And I'm so excited about that. I mean, man, it's like slipping into a pair of pajamas for the first time. That this is so comfortable. It feels so good.
Good.
And my partner is so
Kinda like-
bright. He's been a producer for a long time. He's so with it. And he's gonna make sure I don't cross any lines, but I'm gonna make sure that I push him a little bit too, because he's always been kind of behind the scenes, and I think we got to shake things up a little bit, but we're gonna do so in a respectful way. So, dude, it's great.
That's great, man. I'm definitely tuning in. I look forward to that banter and how you two play off each other. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. The other thing too, in fact, I had a meeting with everybody today. We just talked about being a good human. And that's one of the things that I'm sort of personally working on. In the past, maybe I punched down and no, not maybe, I did. In the past, I've punched down. Now I'm not going to do that. I'll punch up. At least I'm going to try. Sometimes the instinct is to go for the easy punchline, but that's not always the right thing to do, But kind of like,
Right.
yeah, maybe that was funny, but now you're an a-hole. Like, I don't want to be that guy anymore. So
Right.
this gives me a chance to kind of rebrand myself, and I'm very excited about that, to kind of be a better person in general.
That's commendable, and in a way, the world has rebranded itself. So we all have to learn how to be in sync with each other. It's a different world than it was 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
but don't you feel like the world itself has kind of gone the other direction? Like, everybody's an
Yeah.
a-hole now. Like, everybody's screaming at each other. And I don't want to sound like my father here, like, oh, I remember the days when everyone got along and it was land of milk and honey. Like, that was not the case either. But we are more divided now than we've been since probably the 60s. And it is a manner in which not only are we divided in our viewpoints, but we're angry with our neighbors. And I want to be able to rise above that, just personally. Like, forget about what is on the air. Don't you? I mean, maybe you don't. Maybe you're like, no, I want to get in the
No,
middle.
I
Of it. I
do.
want to punch my
And
neighbor, but I don't need to have, like, that doesn't do me any good. I'm too tired for that crap.
well, as much as I try to use it for the good, I think social media is definitely a culprit
Oh,
for
that's a great
that because
point.
it's given people this entitled the sense of entitlement
Yeah.
that they carry on into the street, and it gives them this machismo that didn't
Yeah.
have years ago. It's
Joe,
sad. It really is.
I've said it on the air before, and I think it holds true, but I think it's evolving a little bit as now you've got generations that only know a world of social media. Not to sound too much like an old man. I remember the phone book, right? But I think you're right. I've said it before. There's two places where we're smarter than anybody else. One is when we're on the road. Everybody else is an idiot. You see how fast that idiot was going? Why doesn't this idiot hurry up? He's going too slow, right? It's everyone else is a moron. And then the other place is obviously on the keyboard. It's if you're on social media, like, what an idiot, always. So I think
he doesn't agree with me, so he's wrong.
He's wrong and he's an idiot, right? And so we've lost nuance. Frankly, I blame our profession for that to some degree. Like, I don't want to let us off the hook. because programmers throughout the years have been like, you need to come out with a hot take to start with and stick to your opinion and then fight people off. Like, no, I don't. I can talk with you. We can disagree. I can find out why. So, yeah, I think in the world of social media, I think instead of social media getting better, real life is getting worse, which I think probably most of us could have predicted. We just hate to see it come to fruition.
Can't disagree there. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, we have a comment to the show here. We all know Marilyn Hyder. So nice to have the articulate Chris Merrill in the valley. Did she just call you articulate? Is that right?
Yeah.
Articulate?
Yeah. Or maybe just articulating. Maybe she means that I just
Maryland's good people. You guys are neighbors now.
Yeah. In fact, the crazy thing is that I was working not directly with him, but I was working at the same station her former partner Ernie Brown went to when I was doing some work there in Dallas. He's at WBAP doing mornings there. And in fact, the announcement came out that I was going to KTAR in Phoenix, and he shot me a message saying, congratulations, really great to hear that. So, and so did Marilyn. And then Marilyn, of course, was like, we should get together, because Marilyn, so many people, Joe, will say things like, oh, we should get together. Oh, let's go have coffee. Like, know as well as I do, Marilyn is somebody that's like, we should. Friday, 3 p.m. We're going to be at this place. Like, isn't she great? She's
no, she doesn't screw around at that. She absolutely. Yeah. Nope. She knows what she wants, and she's very very articulate about it,
She articulates.
So this, sorry, once again, I'm producing and hosting, so my eyes are all over the place here. So what is the structure at Talk Station? Obviously, is it caller driven? Tell me about the structure.
So this is where I get a chance to sort of bring some of what I've done in the past over.
Apparently, you're getting together with Marilyn on Friday.
Yeah, right. Now we've got plans, right? Okay, all right. Yeah, so it gives me a chance to do some of what I've done before. So we'll do interviews, we'll do phone calls. The station does a great job with interviews right now. They really try to get newsmakers on, again, because they have such a heavy news and credibility focus. Calls they don't do quite so many of. So that's one of our goals, is to try to get the phone number out there a little more often and solicit some phone calls. So generally what we want to do, it's only a 2-hour show, and it's, dude, it's in a great part of the day. I'm working with a great guy at a wonderful radio station. And I was just telling guys today, I was talking to the afternoon show, Bruce and Gatos, and I was like, I just need to not screw this up. Like, my goal here is just don't screw this up, because this is wonderful. Everything about it feels so good. Don't screw it up. So yeah, we're gonna hit the top news of the day, top story of the day is gonna be our goal. And so we'll kind of present that to start with. We'll ask why, and then we're going to hopefully get some phone calls after that for the last couple of segments. And then for the second hour, sort of rinse and repeat on, the next big story of the day. And then, we're working on some bits. We're working on some benchmarks and things like that, that will allow us to sort of play a little bit there in that second hour as well.
Well, I had an idea here. Why don't we do a little practice here? Like, I was skimming through the headlines for Phoenix, for Arizona, and why don't you tell me what you think? Uh-oh. So I pulled up a headline here, and apparently Arizona is going to adopt Pluto as their official character. Do I have that right? Arizona's picking up their...
Yeah, you nailed it, Joe. Adopting? You got that. Yep. 100%. Okay, now, the story I saw was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that they were adopting Pluto as their official planet. But maybe I misread that. Yeah, maybe it is the official pet is Pluto. You're probably right, Joe.
I guess that's why you're a radio host and I'm a welder.
Look at that.
Isn't that
funny? And I really, honest to God, I haven't dived into that story too deep, but I have to figure out what this is. Like, is this a screw you, Arizona believes in Pluto as a planet thing? I have to dive into it a little bit more, because they've done some wacky things in the state in the past. So I got to figure out if it's if it's legit, if it's sarcastic, if it's an effort. I really haven't dove into that story very far, but that's funny.
Well, at least they didn't go the flat Earth route,
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
But actually, I would probably, in the same way that, when you rename, remember the deal where you could name the boat and like Bodie McBoatface 1?
yes,
You
I
remember
do.
that story from a few years back? Like, I would
Yeah,
support Pluto as the official planet for that reason. Like, I think it's funny that we're saying, no, we believe in Pluto. But
right.
no, not a flat Earth thing. Which, by the way, they're doing a snowplow naming contest in Arizona, and I'm thinking, like, how is Plowy McPlowface not winning this?
I just had the same name in my head as soon as you said it. Wait, I'm pointing at the wrong camera.
That's
There
fine.
we go.
Yeah.
So when I announced you were going to be on the show the other day, the first person to comment, I just wanted to
Merrill.
bring her up here.
Oh.
LaDonna Harvey.
Oh,
such
LD.
a treasure.
Yeah.
That's her on the left. Gene Knight right there in the middle, the greener,
Yeah.
and obviously you. This is at
100 pounds
Shotgun
lighter than
Tom
me.
Kelly's house.
Yep.
But just
Yeah.
wanted to give her a shout out. Hi,
And
LaDonna.
by the way, you can see over LaDonna's right shoulder by her elbow there's a picture of Tom Likas, and I'm not sure who's with him, but there's also a duck. So I always thought that was a funny
There
picture.
is a duck.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's still there. Yeah, you're closer to Shotgun's house now. And speaking of which, I did talk to him on the phone today, and
you did?
this is one of our group pictures that we took, and he wanted me to. There you are in the very back there, behind the former lead singer of the band Chicago, Jason
Oh,
Sheff.
I forgot that we took a picture that day.
Yeah.
And Jack is in that photo too. This would have been
Jack,
less than a year
Aaron.
before he passed away, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Rob
my wife
McNellis,
loved
Thomas
Jack.
Hootman.
Jack loved my wife too.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that guy, I'm telling you, 100 years old, or pretty close to 100 years old. I never ever once beat him in pool. He kicked my butt every
He's
single
amazing.
time on the
Yeah.
pool table.
So Rob McNellis was front and center, and that just like a politician wanted to be right in the middle of the photo, didn't he? That was
Oh yeah,
great, too.
he's got to be. It looks like he's 12 there.
It's like, here I am. Yeah, even like the person you can see the least is like you, me, and Shotzi are the ones you can see the least of in this entire photo. So that's great. I love that.
I think it's kind of funny. I just noticed that my caricature is right next to my head.
Oh, that's good. I like that too. That's funny.
Placement.
Very good.
But yeah, you got to come on out. But anyway, Shotgun wanted me to tell you hello.
Miss that
just,
dude. Like, I wouldn't believe. I talk him up so much.
Huh?
I talk to Shotzi up so much. I love that guy.
He's a legend.
Well, he's genuinely one of my favorite human beings in the whole wide world.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong there.
Yeah.
One last thing I wanted to talk to you about is for your hiatus or when you were back home, you were making maple syrup. Wrong camera again. Whoa, I'm good. And you sent me some syrup out of your own trees, which today Katie made snacks.
Look at that! Actually, I'm going to do you one better, Joe, because I got to flip this around so you can read it.
No. I got this nice looking like jug here you sent me.
No, but here's the. Is that working right?
Can you read it? Oh, look at that!
So that's the glass bottle of the maple syrup, and that's the Blue Breeze Cottage is the cottage that my wife and I have. We were kind of renting that out for a year. So,
Is 23 the year it was extracted?
That was this year's, right? So awesome. This was the first year that she got her Cricut was working, and she was able to bring that up, and so she made the label, which I love. So this label we use for our cottage all the time, and we were kind of renting that out as a VRBO, and now she's there with the dog, and I'm not there, so we're kind of away from the VRBO side of that now. So, but anyway, yeah, that's the and this year's. In fact, I think I told you that's a little bit lighter. I could pull a bottle of last year's, which is a little darker. Yeah. But I think I told you that I had an accident when I was brewing this last year. I'm going to go back to this so that I don't get confused. I lost 250 gallons of sap. I burned it. Yeah. So last year was producing really, really well. Syrup Farms did well in Michigan last year. And I was cranking out a ton. I was so excited about it. And then I let it boil overnight, and I just had the heat up a little bit too high. And I came out and I went, this is all scorched. It's all ruined. I mean, it was not like my first year, I had a little bit of a toasted flavor to it. Tasted a little bit like you might have a toasted cinnamon or a toasted caramel, right? It was kind of a toasted
Sure.
maple, I would say. This was just rant. It was horrible. It was
That
bad.
had to be heartbreaking after all that
Oh
work.
my gosh, I had to just throw it all out in the yard. Just 250 gallons of sap. I mean, it wasn't 250 total gallons because I had boiled half of that down, or whatever it was, but that was the equivalent. Because it takes about 40. If you're efficient, it'll take 40 gallons to make 1 gallon of actual
Jeez.
syrup, and I'm closer to like 50 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup. So, I mean, I lost a lot. So basically, I got just over a gallon last year at all. And I don't know,
Well, doing
does
the
your bottle have a number on the bottom? I would have written it on the bottom.
on the bottom or
Yeah.
on the
Okay.
side
So
bottom?
I sent you one of the good. I sent you from 2022. My best year was 22. So if you
Well,
don't
I
see,
put this on my pancakes. I put it in my old fashions even.
oh, that's a good idea. Well, I'll
Yeah,
tell you
it's
what.
really good.
I have a few more here. So the next time you and I get together, I'll bring another bottle.
Yeah, I like that. I
Yeah.
was doing my show prep and I was trying to find those pictures that you had sent me of you extracting from the tree and your cooler, I believe it was that you used,
Yeah.
and I couldn't find the pictures. I wanted to show them so bad. We have a comment to the show here.
I
Charlie,
think.
always enjoyed your show.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I appreciate you. I think, Joe, on my Instagram account, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that I had a photo of the trees that were lined, and I just said something along the lines of I tap that because I was tapping trees. Get it? Har har. Um, yeah. Otherwise, I don't know if I have any of those photos hanging out here. But yeah, you're right. In fact, I think I deleted some after you and I spoke because I showed you the cooler and the boil and all that other stuff. I know it's a little bit
Well,
geeky now. Where all of a sudden we're just talking about how to make maple syrup. Right? How boring is that? But
no, they were
I
so
don't I just
cool.
enjoy.
I
It's a
mean,
great little hobby that I had, and I didn't expect to excite it. I didn't expect to enjoy it so much, but it's like any other hobby. All of a sudden, you find yourself like, oh, you know what? I need to spend more money on the biggest and latest thing. Oh, my syrup would be better if only I spent more money on this thing. And so all of a sudden, I'm just like, okay, I'm $500 in this season alone. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I've hit the point where I needed to start doing projects. I totally get that.
yeah.
Um, I've got a Volkswagen Bug over here that's giving me heartache, and I need to get back on that. So I get it.
Oh, I didn't realize you did that. You gotta that's the one everybody wants. Everybody wants to work on an old VW, which is why they're so freaking expensive.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
got
believe how expensive those bugs are.
no, I got a 1967 Volkswagen, and it's
Oh,
one of
that's
the
a
more
good one.
sought after years, but
Yeah.
and I had four of them when I was a teenage, three of them when I was a teenager, and I just I don't know, the engines I couldn't do. I could do anything else, but the engines always gave me heartache. And this one's got some engine issues, and I can't figure it out. But we're gonna take it to a shop. Amy said we're gonna take it to a shop, and we'll get it worked out. But it's a nice car. It's for 1967. It's actually in pretty decent shape.
Oh, that's great.
Um, yeah. But yeah, more project.
That's
Yay.
doing great there, pal.
Um,
Yeah. Hey, listen, I just
so
found those
anyway,
photos. I'm sending them to you now. I just found a couple of those photos that,
email.
dude, that's a great project. So, are you doing? You're just doing it by your lonesome, or is your daughter helping? You
No,
getting a little help from family?
no, it's kind of actually nobody's really touched it in quite a while because last time how did you send the pictures? Text or email?
Email.
Um I was putting on the distributor cap last time I touched it, and it's got two little clasps on the side. I broke my finger trying to close it, so
Oh no.
that put me out of commission for a while. So
Okay.
yeah, that was
Sorry to hear that.
that sucked.
I guess so. I guess so.
Okay, for you viewers who are still watching, give me 1 second here. I've got these photos that Chris just sent me. It's really quite fascinating. I was tripping on these uh, when Chris sent them to me. Uh, so I have them right here, and talk about something interesting for a moment. Not to put you on the
Yeah, so
spot, but
the photos you're about to see is it's the pot that I boil in, or one of them, and like the pot alone I think is about $150, which, like, how expensive can a pot be? But then again, here we go, and then I've got it plugged into a propane stove, and it's like you keep going through so much propane. And then I sent you the cooler, right? So I've got a Yeti cooler that's full of sap, and it just looks like water. And not, again, this is just sort of behind the scenes, like what I do. But I got to tell you, sap straight out of a tree is delicious. It's like what? It's like sugar water. Obviously, that's what it is. It's like it tastes like water with kind of a sweet aftertaste. And because it's coming out of a tree that is just over freezing, it is always cold. And it's like I'm working on this stuff and I'm pouring buckets of this stuff around and I'm filtering it as I'm pouring it. And every now and again, you just sort of dip a glass in there and, oh, this is good. Ah, it feels good. But oftentimes a little chilly out there when you're working on it. So anyway, that's what you're about to see with that photo. Otherwise, how's the weather, Joe? Atmospheric river hit you yet? Can't wait for that to happen, because here I am in Phoenix, a guy who does not like the heat, mind you. It's the only downside to being in Phoenix. And it's
well,
going to
I don't
be
like the
it's like 85 today, but tomorrow I think we're going to have a high of 60. So
yeah,
the weather is
I
on
don't like the
track.
cold. I'm not a fan of cold.
Oh, love
So
it.
when you say cold in Michigan, when it gets under 60 here, I'm kind of done. Are you talking about 60?
Yeah, yeah, 60, right. Yeah, freezing.
Yeah.
When I left a couple of weeks ago, I had to load the U-Haul. The day I loaded, the high temperature was 11, and that was horrible. And then I took off. It was 6 degrees when I left the house, and it was a winter weather advisory. I'm driving this U-Haul through this winter weather advisory. It was blizzard-like conditions. It took me forever to get, and it was all because of the lake. They all have lake effect snow. It took me forever. I finally got into Indiana, and I could see where I was going, because I mean it was one of those white knuckle drives, and you know, glad I wasn't in the ditch like so many of the other cars I passed. And I got through Chicago, and that was the day, you may remember the story. An awful lot of people were talking about this story, was that electric cars were taking forever. Like they were freezing while they were waiting to be charged. That was that day. So I was listening to WGN on the way through Chicago, listening to that story, and then all of a sudden it became like a national headline. But that day in Chicago, when I drove through, it was 2, and the wind chill was
Shoot.
-20. So
Yeah.
yeah, that gets to the bones a little bit. Oh, did you find the photos?
Well,
There you go.
yeah, this is the best way I could do it here. So this is your vat, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the round vats I have, and I have another boiling vat that is more efficient. Except I'm a little bit worried because of the system I have below it. I'm afraid it puts too much pressure on. I need to build out a better system to heat the other vat. So this one is the safest anyway. But this is also the one that spoiled. And
It's a
this would have
beautiful
been, I
yard.
think, later in the season, because I don't see any snow on the ground. So I think this would have been near the end of March, and this was from the 2022 batch.
Yeah, you've sent
This,
me some pictures of the snow. It's crazy, man.
yeah. And look,
There's your Yeti.
that's right out of a tree. Look how crystal clear that is. That's out of a tree. And
There is
you know,
liquid in there. Wow.
yeah. And it's just it's wild when you tap a tree that all of a sudden it starts flowing. Almost like you got a water balloon and you poke a hole in it and it just starts running. Like the trees can be almost give you sap in that quantity. It's like it just
Wow.
starts, when they say it flows, it's not like a slow drip, it's like a steady drip. And all of a sudden you go, wow, my bucket wasn't big enough. I have to start replacing buckets really quickly to get everything, up to snuff.
That's
Hey, thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
still tripping on that, man. That's so cool. That is so cool.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
fun.
hey, look, Chris Carmichael.
Hell, he's great. Look at him. Welcome back.
Yeah. So, man, this has been fun. Anything else you want to add here? Anything?
No, KTAR.com. This is a place to go. We will not be talking about maple syrup. We will be talking about the probably the weather if it sucks. But yeah, top issues. We're going to focus. I mean, if you're in Arizona, if you're in Phoenix, right in your wheelhouse. If you're not, we're going to try to, it's going to be about Arizona. Hopefully, it's presented in a manner that's entertaining enough that even if you're not here, you go, wow, that was an interesting take. And let's face it, especially when it comes to things like weather and the border, water issues. A lot of what happens in California also affects Arizona and vice versa. So there's a lot of overlap there too, except the houses here are cheaper.
Extremely cheaper. Yeah. I always forget the time change. What time is it over there right now?
So we're just 1 hour ahead of you right now.
So currently you're 1 hour
today.
ahead. We voted that out, but of course they said, oh, we don't agree. So we still have the time change.
We voted to give them the authority to change it if they wanted to, but I disagree with it. I disagree with California's take on that, because California was like, oh, we're going to go to daylight savings time permanently, which means that you would be an hour ahead. So you'd be in the same time zone as Arizona. Effectively, Pacific Daylight Time is Mountain Standard Time. So if California were to go through with that, you'd drive through Utah, Mountain, Nevada, Pacific, back to California, Mountain. So you'd be, I think you talk about confusion right now. Boy, that'd be wild confusion. I think they should have gone with standard time just in general, but they're all like, no, we don't want to do that. It'd get dark too early or whatever. I just, standard time's the way to go.
So if you're in San Diego and Monday, you want to hear the show, you want to tune in at 1 o'clock San Diego time.
Yes.
Is that correct?
KTAR.com.
KTAR.com. 1 o'clock our time, 2 o'clock Arizona time.
Yes.
Well, very cool, man. I guess we'll put a wrap on this here. But it's been great having you on, man. I miss you.
I miss you, pal. I miss the fam. I miss Amy. How often are you guys over here? Because people that don't know, like Joe started dating Amy. She was living in Phoenix. In fact, I don't think I live very far from where her restaurant was.
No,
I'm in North Phoenix now. Wasn't she? She was in Scottsdale, right?
No, she was in Phoenix. She
was it North Phoenix? It was North Phoenix then, right? So I can't be too far from where she was.
I don't know. I remember it was hot. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get a little discombobulated when I'm in Arizona. I forget what's where. So I know you were in Mesa. But she was working in Phoenix, living in Phoenix.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah.
But anyways, cool, man. Right on. Be sure to tell Luana I said hello.
Well, I have
only
a big,
5 hours away
big
now.
Empty bedroom that just has a studio in it right now, so it'll be great.
I like it, man. I like it. Got to do that. Thanks for joining me. I don't have an outro though. I got a really cool intro. Now I guess I need a good outro. So
okay.
I don't have anything for that. But anyway, I can sing us off, but I don't think anybody wants that.
All right, buddy.
All right, Chris. Thank you very much, buddy. All right.
Buy real maple syrup. Real stuff.
I know, man. God, I can't wait to get some of that. Thank you.
All right,
All right, bud. We'll catch you later. See you.